Hey you guys, this is Christy Wells and I am your WOD coach for today, Thursday, May 21st. And excuse me, today I want to talk about one thing that is absolutely essential to building a strong Advocare business. This is something that I kind of went back to the the guiding principles of Advocare, and I feel like it's really well encaptured in number 3 and number 9. Number 3 says, believe in the dignity and the importance of the individual. And number 9 says, build self-esteem by promoting a sense of personal worth among all people. What Charlie Regis' vision was for us as a distributorship base, none of these guiding principles say to create the world's best salespeople. It is that Advocare's desire and Charlie Regis' vision for us was to believe in the dignity and the importance of the individual, to build self-esteem by promoting a sense of personal worth among all people. They want us to be people who invest in people. And I've had a lot of conversations lately with people who are struggling in their business. And when we dig a little bit deeper, sometimes what we figure out is that they're so excited, they're so passionate about talking to people, but they talk to somebody, and if that person tells them no, then they're like, okay, well, and they have a heart for building a business, so they kind of cut off that person and move on to the next person, looking for somebody to say yes. But what they forget about is to still value the person who said no and to love them where they're at. So many times we just say, okay, done with you, move it on to the next person. And that's not the way to do this. So I want to give you a couple of, one example and a little bit of a word picture to help explain this. One was that Kathy Ife did a beautiful job of this with me. She did a beautiful job of being the person that she is and being my friend. I said no to Advocare a number of times throughout our friendship for about 7 months. I said no. And quite honestly, you guys, in the back of my mind, I was expecting her to do what everybody else that I had known in kind of that direct sales world had done, which was, okay, you said no? Okay, thanks, bye. And then move on to the next person. And I would say no. And, no to a three-way call. I wouldn't show up for a mixer. I, did the things that we all get annoyed with. And she was right back at, by my side at church the next Sunday, or at choir or whatever, and she was back to investing in me. And my friendship with her was never based upon whether I said yes or no to Advocare. And that stood out to me. That was something I really recognized as being different, was that she valued me above my yes or valued me above my no. And Andy Andrews does a great job in his book. I believe it's The Noticer. It might be The Noticer Returns. And he talks about this car dealership in Alabama. And the funny thing to me is, you guys, this is a true story, because I used to be in advertising down in this area during this time, and I actually remember this happening. So the story goes, and the principle of the story before I start is that if you are competing, in the world of sales, if you will, you compete on 2 levels, on price and on product. So if all things being equal, price and product are the same, what allows somebody to choose, one company over the other, or one person over the other? And what it comes down to is playing the game on a level that nobody else is playing it, which is simply adding value to somebody, just like Kathy did to me. So the story behind the price and product is that there was a car dealership down in Alabama during the recession in 2008. Business was bad. It was Christmas. Nobody was buying cars. It was slower than it had ever been. And this car dealership, instead of running ads continually trying to compete on price and product, they said, well, what if we did something different? So their whole ad campaign, from what I remember, was not about cars. It was about bring your toys to our dealership. Quite honestly, we've got a lot of time on our hands. We'll put the toys together for you. You can leave them, come back, and we'll have them ready for you. The guy who owned the dealership said, I can put together a bicycle in my sleep now because we put together so many. They pulled in people from the automotive department, people from the sales team. Everybody was working on putting toys together. But what happened was that they sold virtually no cars in the month of December. But when things changed, when life and circumstances changed for the people that they had added value to, those people weren't going to anybody else but them when it came time to buy a car, because they competed on a level that nobody else was competing. They were adding value to other people's lives. And so I want to bring this back to our Advocare business. When we are building relationships with people, you guys, we have to always circle back. We have to be valuing them above their no. Because you guys, that leaves that door open that if their life and their circumstances change, they can come back. I have built a great relationship with a new gal over the last couple of weeks, and she's mentioned that she knew I did Advocare, and I intentionally didn't bring it up, and I just built that relationship today. And today she said, you're the least pushy Advocare person I've ever met. And to me, that was a huge compliment. And I said, well, tell me what your experience has been. So she goes on to tell me. And you know what, you guys? It opened up my opportunity to actually truly share my heart and my story about what Advocare has done for me. And it opened up that conversation. But sometimes if we bulldoze through and we're so intent on getting our story out and we lose sight of investing in them, asking them questions, again, putting them before us, then we're going to miss it. We're going to miss how we can serve somebody. We're going to miss their purpose. We're going to miss the opportunity to change their world. If we are so busy looking for immediate yes, and if we don't get it, we move on. So my message to you guys is how to build a rock solid business. It is to invest in people. And I'm going to take this one level deeper. If you are a leader and you are concerned about people on your team, you're frustrated with people on your team, that may mean that you've got to go back and you need to reinvest in them. You need to reinvest in connecting with them. What's going on in their life? Has their purpose shifted a little bit? We can't always just assume that we know something, that an answer is definitive in what they want out of Advocare and then move on, and then just get frustrated if they're not doing anything. We have to invest in our team. The very best leaders in Advocare that you see, the Nikki Wrights, the Brandon and Kathy Ives, the Jesse Reynolds, the CJ and Melissa Stockel, and the list goes on and on. They are amazing at pouring into people, not at how they pitch the 2040 challenge, you guys. They are amazing at connecting and pouring into people. So if there's one thing that you try to fine tune and hone in on, it's how can you be a better friend? How can you ask somebody more questions? How can you circle back to that person who told you no 8 months ago and you haven't called because you're afraid to pick up the phone? You guys value them above anything else. So that is my heart and my WOD for you guys tonight, and I hope that that adds value to you, because that's definitely been a message that I've had to reinforce to myself lately, and I have seen dramatic differences. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.